Hello, everybody, and welcome to a YouTube exclusive here at the Think Different podcast. And of course, we're doing this on a wonderful day. It's Austin 316 Day, so of course, I have myself a Miller Lite. We're going to crack it open. You love to hear that sound every day. And of course, my man Frank Funk's here with us. He does have a beer because he doesn't understand the Austin 316 reference, but this is the day we're recording it. It's 316, so
there you go.
Tasty, and it's a light beer. Just want to let you all know that because Frank would be mad if I didn't have a light beer. But today is I don't know if it's a celebration or a funeral. We're not sure, but break this down, Frank. We now know that the original HomePod has now been discontinued. It is no longer for sale or no longer being manufactured. The end of the life of the HomePod and the continuation of the HomePod Mini. So before we get into the details a little bit about the HomePod, I have to know your initial thoughts when I sent you that announcement.
Well, my initial, I don't like it. I have two HomePods. I love them. They have great sound. I also have two Sonos 1s and a Sonos 5 that was considering selling and getting new HomePods.
Well, they might be on discount right now if you get a good chance. Now, Remember, because they are not selling it anymore doesn't mean they're not, providing updates to them anymore.
Yeah, that's true. But I have a whole theory about Apple's precarious position that they're putting themselves into. And I used to, it's getting close to what Sony used to be. Sony used to put out a bunch of products. I mean, they had the Betamax, they had the VHS, they had a Walkman, they had a highly compressed MP3 player. It wasn't called MP3, but it was a highly compressed, better audio, and they would throw a ton of products out on the market. And whether they were better or worse, they just abandoned them. Like a beta videotape was better than VHS. The downfall was it didn't have as much time on a tape.
And price.
Yes. Okay, but sometimes you got to give up a better product for a better price.
Let's talk about that because this is really what the HomePod's about. This is kind of like the core of the problem. So
I wouldn't say it's a problem. I think it's something that Apple has to decide.
Well, you don't think it's a problem. For me, I always thought it was a problem. I want to go take a little bit back in history because we were both working at Apple at the time. So this was announced on June 5th of 2017. Yep. They said it was going to come out for the holiday, which it did not. It ended up coming out after around February of 2018. That's when it officially came out in white and space gray. And the touting of this device was about the sound and the quality.
Yes.
Even though they said Siri's built into this thing, it was not meant to be that, and the goal of it was to be, it could be a single or studio pair. You can AirPlay the sound from your Apple TV to these or from your phone to them. And there was some mixed reviews about it because number one, you couldn't use another speaker with it. It wasn't possible. You can't mix and match speakers to work with them. I guess you could if you have AirPlay too. So technically you could do that. But the biggest thing that this had a hard time with was that Apple announced it was $349 when this came out. Now, that really put a very high end for what is considered a smart speaker. But again, Apple, I never felt like they were saying this is like a smart speaker. It's more like a good quality sound. I thought they did a good job of explaining that, but to convince people of that was different. Now, we had a special deal. When we worked at Apple, Apple does a very good job of trying to get us to buy new products. So they gave us a 50% discount. and I bought one. I don't know if you bought one, Frank, at the time when that was a discount. You bought two, and I also borrowed another person, actually Vacation Tim's discount. So I ended up getting a stereo pair of HomePods, and I think the sound is incredible.
It is.
I will say with the stereo pair, sometimes it becomes a little bit of a hassle regarding which one's supposed to be the dominant one, and we ended up getting a mini at the end of the day for the kitchen because we wanted to do our time, but we were speaking, I guess, too far away, and it just wasn't picking up the sound. It was becoming more difficult, so we ended up just getting a HomePod mini for the kitchen, which has been a much better experience because we've had that. And for $99, that is, what they decided to go with. And the rumors started, I think, the Friday before this podcast that they were short of the Space Gray, which people thought it was just a supply shortage. And then the next day, Apple admitted that they are going to be discontinuing the HomePod, and the HomePod Mini has been such a hit. I think it was, they reported to one website, but they're offering it until it's sold out.
See,
and that's where we are, and that's what got us here today.
Yeah. Again, my thought is the sound quality on the HomePod is more towards the taste of an audiophile. And I really loved the sound. It also has what they called spatial awareness, so it would adjust to the room that they're set in.
Mm-hmm.
The Mini does not.
No.
Now, granted, it was $299, but what the sound quality?
It went down to $299. Remember, originally it was $349. Yes. They eventually discounted it $50 just to give it a little bit more of a better price.
Right. But all in all, the sound, see, again, I think it's like what they're doing with these new headphones. Okay. Now, we both said at $549, it was aimed at the audiophile. So to me, right now, I would not recommend anybody to buy those because just like Sony, they're throwing a lot of stuff out on the market, and they're going to discontinue it. You're going to be left high and dry.
And you can't even make them a wired pair. Like it's like the AirPods Max can't be a wired pair of headphones. They always have to be wireless. Just like the HomePod, you couldn't really just take that with you and move it around somewhere. It wasn't meant to be portable. But you could even still today, it's still almost there, but you can't even do a third-party app. It took a while for that to even work, like Pandora or Spotify to work on there natively. You had to AirPlay it.
You have to admit that the sound quality out of the HomePod certainly rivals the Sonos 5.
I would rather hear the HomePod audio any day over my television, without a doubt.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is that the AirPlay is a mixed bag of working, not working when it comes to my Apple TV. Now, that could just be my Apple TV is older, and maybe I just need to get a 4K one, because the 4K has more compatibility, I think, with these HomePods than it does with the original.
I think this whole thing with this coupled with the iMac Pro being discontinued, I think Apple needs to make a decision.
I think they are. I think they are making a decision.
Well, that's true, and I can't necessarily think that it's the right decision.
Well,
Apple has always been a higher priced product for superior product, and now I think they're going for the mass market. You got a $99 speaker. Yeah, it's nice. I'll grant you that. But it's not an audiophile quality speaker. So they're leaving that whole other market to Sonos.
And they just took Sonos out of their Apple store. Remember, they stopped, carrying a lot of those speakers now. But they're, what that tells me is that not only they're going to go farther with the Mini, they're going to add. I guarantee you, they're going to do more with it that may be able to, accommodate someone like you
it
that
doesn't
wants
have a
it.
subwoofer.
No. It
It has integrated speaker system. It doesn't have the 7 microphones
Yep.
that the HomePod does. Uh, I, I'm just disappointed, and I really believe now. I mean, why couldn't they offer both just like they do?
hmm
So look at
They're
the array
obviously
of
losing money on
products.
them. They had to be losing money on it. They're just they're not enough buyers out there for it, and it just doesn't. It's just sitting there doing nothing. It's like the Mac Mini was sitting there for years without any upgrade for like 4 or 5 years doing
Right,
nothing.
right.
And rather than keeping it out there, they're just realizing that there's no reason going forward. There's some technology missing that the Mini has over the HomePod too.
Well,
You know, like
but
the
you
U1 chip, like I can go up to my phone and put it next to the speaker and it transfers the sound. I can't do that on the HomePod. So there are technologies. I read some
but that
comments.
might be just an upgrade to the software.
Nah, it needs a U1 chip. That's the key.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
So
I don't
I
know.
wanted to share some comments that people said, and a lot of people actually agree with it. They said not a good move. The HomePod sounds way better than the Mini, and not having high quality audio options going to hurt. This is a good one. R.I.P. Big Guy. Tell the iPod Hi-Fi we said hi. Did you have one of those Hi-Fi
No,
iPods?
I didn't. I
They
didn't.
were they were expensive too. You talk about you think the HomePod was expensive. That thing was expensive. That was like a $500 like
Yeah,
audio.
it's it.
Uh, Another person who's also agreeing with you. This is sad, devastating for me. Really, I have a stereo pair attached to my TV and couldn't be happier with the sound quality and the way it works with my Apple TV 4K. I don't understand why Apple just doesn't keep them around and update the internals. I absolutely love being able to play, pause, rewind, raise, and lower volume using Siri on my HomePods. It's a sad day.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think it's. I mean, you could look at the iPad line and say, okay, how many different iPads do you need?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know. I think that there's a major philosophy change, and I think that they're going for the lower end of the market as opposed to, and I say the lower end. What I mean is the least expensive, um, and not necessarily like, look, this is a high quality product. You're going to get the best sound, so on and so forth. I think they're just going to. I mean, they're putting their products in Target now,
Right.
so you know,
Yeah, they're having their own little mini Apple store, just like Best Buy is doing right now.
yeah, and
But it's you know it sucks. I have them. I'm really happy with them. You know, maybe I'll get minis and do a stereo pair and see what it sounds like, and maybe I won't be as disappointed with them. But I mean, we have to shout out a toast to the HomePod, the iMac Pro. I'm wondering what's next. I mean, what's next to go is the question because they're downsizing all their
yeah,
old products down. So that's what they're doing. So I'm going to say cheers to the HomePod.
yeah.
And that is the end of our quick review of this, the end of the HomePod. We just wanted to come up here on YouTube.
So, do you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, I'm not happy when they get rid of products, but I understand why they're getting rid of it. I completely get it. You know, I don't think a $300 speaker, technically $600 if you want the stereo sound, and even if you compare it to like a good Sony like bar, like those are probably like $500-$600, but you can plug so much more stuff into it.
Yeah, well,
You know, and you can't do that on a HomePod. HomePod is stuck in its ecosystem, and if
well,
you're not in that system, this product is worthless to you.
well, I have a Bose sound bar,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, hands down, hands down, my HomePods will outperform that Bose sound bar.
And you're not the only person I've heard say that. As
You
far as
know,
sound bars go, especially like a $600,
yeah,
I'm comparing like a $600 sound bar to the quality of them. And I know a lot of people like the HomePods, but again, you're very limited on what you can do with it, and you have to rely on AirPlay and an internet connection for it to work. And if you don't have that, you're kind of screwed.
well, cable's going away. Streaming is the answer. So
Yeah, I
forget
know that.
about
I
bitching
forgot.
about streaming. I mean, it's
I'm
here. It's
streaming
going to
now.
stay.
I'm streaming
You know.
right now, buddy. I got my YouTube TV. And honestly, the HomePods are going to be around for at least another 3 to 4 years because they have to update them because they're still selling them. They have Apple Care for 2 years on them. So at least 3 to 4 more years, these
Hey,
HomePods
listen,
are going to be around.
I'll make you a deal. I'll
Oh,
swap you my 2 Sonos ones for your HomePods.
tempting. Tempting. But I honestly, for right now, I'm going to keep them because I do like the Siri feature on them and I like having that. So I'm going to go with a no. You hold on to your Sonos ones. I'm going to keep my HomePods.
How about I give you the Sonos 5?
No.
No.
No. All right. All right, buddy. Frank is going to be on the begging me for these off the air. We want to thank you for joining us here on the podcast. Enjoy all of our YouTube videos. Please subscribe or follow now because Apple doesn't call it subscribe anymore for podcasts. It's follow now. Follow us on our podcast platforms. And we thank every single one of you for being here. And HomePod, we love you.
Peace out, man.